First of all, I want to thank all of you for joining the Lieutenant Governor and I for this special press conference. Very pleased to be joined this afternoon by our living legend, Dan Gable, Terry Brands, Doug Schwab, Travis Paulson, to discuss a very important issue, and that is ensuring that wrestling remains an Olympic event in the year 2020. When the International Olympic Committee voted by way of secret ballot to remove wrestling from the Games in 2020, we felt that decision was short-sighted and was a significant departure from Olympic tradition. Wrestling has been a staple of both ancient and modern Olympics. It is a sport that captures the essence of the Olympic spirit, and future generations should not be denied this opportunity. As Iowans, we know just how special wrestling is, not only as a sport, but as a means of building character. As a result, our citizens are in strong position to serve as advocates to the International Olympic Committee as why wrestling should remain part of the Olympics. You can see the turnout here at the state wrestling tournament. You have schools large and small from all over the state, tremendous amount of fans, and there's also just a lot of people who are living in this state who are people that grew up wrestling and are proud alumni of wrestling. So today I'm pleased to announce that we have launched Let'sKeepWrestling.com campaign. Together, we'll fight to keep wrestling as part of the Olympics. Now, I want to turn the podium over to Lieutenant Governor Kim Reynolds to provide more details on how people can join this campaign.
Well, thank you, Governor Branstad, and thank you for being here today and joining us. I, too, am honored to be standing up here with Dan and Terry and Doug and Travis as we continue to discuss this important issue. You know, as Iowans, we take a strong interest in wrestling, whether it's the little kids wrestling programs or it's the best state high school wrestling tournament in the country, to our pride in the successes that our colleges and universities have demonstrated over the years. So today, what we're doing is we're encouraging all Iowans to go to Let'sKeepWrestling.com and sign the petition to urge the International Olympic Committee to keep wrestling as a core Olympic sport. We launched the website yesterday, and as of today, and this was a couple of hours ago, we already had over 2,000 petitions that had been signed. I'm sure we're probably above that already, so we want to keep that momentum going. As the governor mentioned, wrestling has a deep tradition in Olympic history. The sport really has transcended generations in nearly 200 nations, and in fact, in just the most recent Summer Games in London, wrestlers competed from 71 different countries. A sport that has such growing global popularity and has such deep traditions deserves a voice to fight for it. Fighting for wrestling is as simple as going to Let'sKeepWrestling.com. And you can also help us spread the message by liking us on Facebook at Facebook.com/Let'sKeepWrestling, or follow us on Twitter at Keep Wrestling. So let's all work together so that our voices can be heard, and get out there and sign the petition and help join us in this extremely important issue. And now really, it's my honor to turn the podium over to the Olympic gold medalist, Mr. Wrestler himself, Dan Gable.
Thank you. I just had to check up to the second situations that's going on in the world, just because that's kind of what we need to do, second by second. I'm on a committee for the United States that is actually working second by second to plan and get ready for action. Anyway, what this does, Let's Keep Wrestling, right now, is something that is going to build by itself. And what it's going to do at the right point in time, it's going to merge to the national and international level. That was the words that I got just a few seconds ago from the guys that are running the top level effort. And they told me that they need more of this stuff, but they want this to eventually be an avenue to merge to make it, you know, one big fight. So that's number one. Number two is it's going to be tough to win, and the reason why I say that is because nobody ever overrules this committee. But there is a precedence. They have been overruled. And because of that, once you get over that first one, it's always easier to get the second one. And I think we have a really good case to get that second overruling situation. Third, look at the press here. I mean, obviously you got a venue out there, but they're even impressed.
We are.
With the press. And because
we don't get this many at our normal press conferences, I guarantee you that.
Dan, we don't get anything like this on Monday.
So with this kind of effort, this is what it's going to make a difference. They might have thought that wrestling was going to be an easy path, but as you can see, there are places like this all over the world. It's just not Iowa. There's places like this all over the world that will generate this type of enthusiasm for the sport. And then, just lastly, and we'll get on, the bottom line is wrestling is good for the economy. And that's the bottom line here. That's all these different places, and that's all over the world. And when you're good for the economy, you're gonna survive. And from that, I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna turn this over now to Terry Brands. Who want me to introduce him?
Yep.
Yeah, Terry Brands is a world champion twice. He's an Olympic bronze medalist, which, you know, I taught him right. He's not real happy about that bronze medal. I got a bronze statue, and I'm not happy about it. I wish it was gold. And he wishes his medal was gold as well. But Terry Brands, come on up here.
Thank you. Thank you. Number one, thanks a lot for being here. Number two, I just have some thoughts that I wrote down this morning and last night. I got to gather them in my head, but one of the things that comes to mind is I played in the Super Bowl, I pitched in the major leagues in the World Series, and I wrestled in the Olympics. And I wrestled all 10 weight classes in the Olympics, and actually I won all 10 weight classes in the Olympics. And I wrestled in the ocean and won the Olympics in wrestling. And I wrestled in lakes and out in my front yard in Sheldon, Iowa, and won the Olympics in the wintertime in the snow. And the Olympic movement provided that imagination and that mentality to aspire to be the best. Thinking about Coach Gable and what he did, and then what he was doing at Iowa, and how I could go to Iowa and be one of Gable's boys. That came from the Olympic movement, and aspiring to be a gold medal winner. Now, not everybody gets to even wrestle in the Olympics or win the Olympics, but it's the process that guides kids and young children that believe, and maybe you're in an imagination world, so nobody can tell you that you can't do something. And that's what the Olympic movement provides. I remember in my freshman year in high school, and by the way, you provided that education for me. Thank you very much. It was 1984. And yeah, he was right there. 83, I think, was when you came in, so I appreciate that.
You're right.
And I made a clay emblem that was USA with the Olympic rings that was on Gable's jacket that he had as a head coach of that Olympic team. And the reason why I say that is because quite possibly we could be fighting for humanity, because without that imagination, imagine the NFL, somebody just voting and saying no more NFL. No more Major League Baseball. Just imagine that. And what that, don't even worry about the economy and the people that are in there and the owners, but think about the youth and the way that they are allowed to build their mentalities, whether they become great, whatever, in their future. So I hope you follow me on that. Again, appreciations to both of you.
Yep.
I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And thank you.
Thank you.
Doug's next.
Yeah.
This is Doug Schwab. He's the current coach at the University of Northern Iowa, former national champion from the University of Iowa, an Olympian in 2008. And he'll come up here and say a few words.
Doug, thank you.
Well, I think this is why we have a good chance, is because look at this crowd, and this is happening, like Gable said, all over the world right now. We're coming together, we're uniting as a unit, and there's just a certain amount of respect that wrestlers have for each other, and they're coming together right now in one fight. And that's the first thing that I thought of when I heard this. We're not going to go down easy. This recommendation is a recommendation, and you got guys like Gable and all over the world mobilizing right now to get that changed. What I think about, and Terry struck me, is having that imagination to believe that I can be there, at least having that opportunity. And that's really why we're here. That's why we're fighting for this. There's a lot of young guys out there right now who I want them to wake up with the opportunity to be able to be an Olympic champion, and to have that in their head, and to play that out time and time and time again, and to strive to do that. Because being in Olympics, being an Olympic champion means we have to work to be our best, and we have to give up a lot of other things. That's a great thing. Nothing's handed to you in the wrestling world or in the Olympic world. And I know that's why we're all here right now. We're here to fight together. We're here to band together and do whatever we can. And I know that it's real fresh right now. And when things are fresh, people have a tendency to, okay, we're going to fight this, we're going to do this, we're going to petition, we're going to tweet, we're going to Facebook, we're going to email, we're going to write, we're going to do all those things. But we got to keep doing them and continue on till this vote is changed, or till September when it actually does happen. So I'm just going to encourage people to keep that fire lit, to keep just like the Olympic flame and torch. It blows all through the games. We got to keep that thing fire until we get this thing changed. So I appreciate you guys having me, and appreciate the support. Let's get out there and keep beating this thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So anyway, one thing to add there, no matter what happens in September, you just keep fighting until you get it back. That's just the bottom line. That's the way it is. You don't stop anytime. And then if we do get it back, we just keep fighting too, to get it up the rank. You shouldn't be in that situation where you could be voted out. Anyway, the next speaker is Travis Paulson. He's a three-time All-American from Iowa State University. Iowa State's actually competing up in Michigan right now, and so Coach Kevin Jackson was an Olympic champion at Iowa State University, is with the team, and so Travis is going to come up here and represent that area. Travis?
I just remember growing up in Iowa as a young kid, hearing names like Dan Gable and Olympic champion. It made me proud to be from the state of Iowa. And just to take that away, there's really no words to describe it, because with college wrestling, that's kind of after that there is no wrestling, NFL, or Major League Baseball. So the Olympics is what we have, and that opportunity we have after that to pursue our dreams. And growing up, that was always my ultimate dream, and kids need that. And wrestling teaches you so many important life qualities about fight, perseverance, discipline, all these things. And we need to use all these qualities as wrestlers to beat this. It's not like what Doug Schwab was talking about. You can't do it for a couple days. We got to be relentless, constantly on it, getting the word out, and do everything we can to get this back in, because it'd be a travesty without wrestling in the Olympics. Thanks.
Thank you. As you can see, there's tremendous support for wrestling in Iowa. You've heard from the leaders of our university, our state universities in this state. We have a lot of private colleges. We have a lot of high schools. We have a lot of kids. We have a lot of kids that have the dream. And that's what it's all about, and we want to keep that dream alive. So we now open it for your questions. Yep.
Jason Summers, KIC Radio,
yep.
Albion. all the important issues facing our state, why this issue for you as a governor?
Well, because this is part of the fabric of Iowa. And you know, Norman Borlaug also was a great Iowa wrestler. Actually wrestled for the University of Minnesota, but he was from Cresco up in the northern part of the state where I come from. And so if you grow up in this state, you know what an important part of the fabric of Iowa wrestling is. And the ultimate is to be a Dan Gable, who went all the way to win the Olympics and then led his team to all these NCAA titles. In just a few weeks, all right, and sometime in March, I think, we're going to have the NCAA finals right here. That is probably the hardest ticket to get. That tells you how the people of Iowa feel about wrestling. So when wrestling is threatened, the #1 elected official in the state, the governor, I believe should lead the fight. And so we contacted our whole congressional delegation, both of our senators, all 4 of our congressmen, and half of them are Democrats and half of them are Republicans. They said, we want to be a part of it. They've all joined in this. So this is something that has broad-based, strong support within our state. But it's beyond the state of Iowa. It's really all about this dream of kids all over the world. Dan Gable was telling me about some of the countries in the Middle East that have not necessarily been our friends, but where wrestling is really an important part of their culture, and it's important to them too. And this is something that can unite all of humanity.
Governor, Chris Earl, KCRG.
Yes, sir.
Rapids, good to see you. When I covered you in November 2010 when you won, I didn't see this many cameras.
You're right. This is bigger than any election, I'll tell you that. And this is bigger than our state, but Iowa is kind of the epicenter of wrestling, and we want to do all we can to support keeping this Olympic sport.
We often talk about how Iowa's open for business. You made that a major part of 2010. But not just the fabric, but also the economic benefit. When you
Absolutely.
have trials, you have events like this, like we see with the state tournament. Touch on that.
Well, I think we have some people here from the Des Moines Convention and Visitors Bureau. They could tell you how many people are in town. We were driving through downtown, and you see all the buses and all the people that are here. The motels are all full and everything like that for this wrestling tournament. And then with the NCAA finals, again, that sort of thing. So it is huge. It is a huge economic driver for our state. Yes, that is important too. And so it's something we don't want to see lost or diminished.
Governor, is this effort part of any larger effort with a national wrestling organization or anything to...
Dan, I think Dan Gable talked about that a little bit. Do you want to talk about how the national effort, how this fits in with the national effort?
Yes.
Go to the microphone here.
Yes. Every little effort everywhere will be kind of consumed by the national and then international effort. And that's taking place right now, getting formed. They're not exactly formed yet. These things are easier to form than the ones overseas. Right now, we have an American team flying, or they're already there, in Iran. The World Cup of Wrestling Championships, which is our second highest event every year, it's going to take place this week. The top 8 countries in the world will be together in Iran for a competition this week, and they will actually have a chance to get together and they will discuss, and something will come out of that that's more internationally that tells us how we can fit in with that. But that's happening right now. And we have a group that's also one of the IOC. Below that is our governing body, which is FILA. They're all together right now, but they're, you know, they might not be wrestling. They might be boxing. So those things are taking place right now to find out. Leadership is of question. And that could be a huge priority from that meeting.
Other questions?
Barbara Rodriguez with PAP. I just was a little curious about the funding aspect behind I guess, why is there your re-election campaign and not the state sponsoring this effort?
Well, first of all, if the state were to do it, we'd have to go through and get an appropriation. There's not enough time to do that. And we felt this is important enough that the Branstad Campaign Committee would be willing to invest the money. We think this is a good investment in our state, and we knew we could move quickly on it, and so frankly we paid for the t-shirts and we helped line this up. There's also just a tremendous amount of volunteer activity going on, and just a lot of people have come out of the woodwork to support this effort. But I felt it was a good investment of our resources. I'm proud we took the initiative to do so.
And just based off of what you were saying about volunteer efforts, with the information that's being collected with just the petition, how is that information going to be used?
Well, we're going to use that to try to build a nationwide and hopefully a worldwide list of people that are committed to this, that will then, and we can communicate with each other, we can work together to see this through to success.